And if a customer has a network of any kind internally, especially like a mid to larger size network, they're going to have an in-house or internal DNS server. And what that does is that helps all the computers that are there locally on that network talk to each other, right? Using names and IP addresses. And what I was going to finish saying too, actually, David, about the PTR record stuff with the reverse DNS. What that does is, whether it's an external DNS server on the internet or an internal DNS server on somebody's network, that the DNS server, again, computers they use numbers. And so what the PTR and reverse records, all that helps with is it does the opposite. It takes the IP address and converts it back into a common name. And so that's what that process is used for. So that way it's all, no matter how it's coming in, the computers know how to process it. And so that's, there's plenty of times when I've helped plenty of customers with setting up their internal DNS servers. That helps a lot. There are some other built-in ways for computers to talk to each other now internally. Again, I won't go through all the technical aspects of that, but if you have, rule of thumb, if you got 5 computers or more on your internal network, then you might want to consider getting at least one local Microsoft domain server that's going to set up a domain, and you can also set that domain up as a DNS server. In fact, you have to have at least one internal DNS server if you're going to be doing user authentication using a domain, a Microsoft domain. And so that's something we set up all the time for customers. DACP is another mission critical service we set up for customers. DACP is just responsible to and handing out IP addresses to all the devices that tried to connect to your local network. And so DHCP is a big one. You can do that on a device such as a firewall typically, but ideally you would do it on a server, especially if you have one. You want to. That's an easier way to manage your DHCP. And what DHCP is great, because DHCP, if you have it on a server, Microsoft server, it actually gets tied in directly with DNS, and it uses what's called dynamic DNS. And so that is kind of like a it's not AI, but it's kind of along those lines. It learns on its own, what DNS records to enter based on what IP addresses the computers are obtaining on your local network. And so those are really handy service. Again, if you got 5 computers or more on your local network, you may want to consider having those in-house services. And we can absolutely, I've set up thousands of what we call domain controllers and DNS servers and DHCP servers. A lot of people today, David, we use when it comes to storing data, we use services like OneDrive or Google Drive. And those services are great. They let you, they're very versatile because you can check your, whatever files you can check them no matter what device you're on. So they're great. You always have an online backup copy, which is great. But again, a lot of people, 5 computers or more, they like having an internal server and storing their data there where they can, hey, if they have to, they can go and plug the cable from the internet and they know that they're good. They're safe, So it's their data on their servers. And so we can set up a local data server that houses all of your information. We set up backup systems, for customers all the time that backs up, those types of servers. That's another big service that we recommend.